See this freak here. Just came in from picking up a package from FedEx. Yeah, I know I have had a few of these come through my hand. That the previous edition over behind that old computer over there. But this is the current edition. Now, slip cover off because I don't like them. Does it's definitely pictures. It's to tell. A couple ribbons. It's got to be the barest bones presentation page I've ever seen. And here is why I bought it. Hey, Denmark. Now, I've checked this out before when I had access to it, so I know what's in it. It's basically the same as the last version, but changed the layout. Now, keep in mind that Holman was bought by this Sunday school division of the Southern Baptist Convention some years ago. So, this is a Southern Baptist Study Bible. That's not a bad thing by any stretch. Start off with a preface on the King James Version's history, a preface on the prefaces, epistle dedicatory, which is laid out a bit unusual, but hey. The translators to the reader, and this is probably the only Holman edition you'll find that in, just as the previous edition of this was. An article on how to read and study the Bible. There's a lot of articles in here. By the time you get to the Old Testament, we've already been through this much of the book. Nice long introductions with book outlines. And here's the layout. It uses drop numerals for chapters. Focus, focus, focus. As you can see, it's a very bold font. I believe it's Bookman, or a 2K version of Bookman. Bookman is very closely related to the Petite Medieval Clarendon font used by Oxford and Cambridge in some of their older Bibles, and to the, was it Antique Old Style 7 or something that the turquoise uses. Now note that it's a 3-column layout for the notes. There's a lot of room for notes. The key verse for the note is in red. Also, the first verse number in a paragraph is a full standing number, while other verses in the same paragraph use superscript. That's what they do instead of using pilcrows. Doesn't seem to have the translator's notes, but it does have a comprehensive set of side column references. Inline maps, various types of graphics. Now, one thing I've noticed, this Bookman font, or Bookman-like font, I believe it's called MCM. But it's actually, it's a lot nicer than the old font. It's very bold, and it's easier to read this regular print edition than it was to read the large print edition of the previous edition of this Bible. Photograph of Shechem, viewed from Mount Gerizim, places you hear a bit in the Old Testament. I like the notes in this Bible. They seem to take the Bible at its face, which is a good thing. Instead of assuming that what everyone knows is true. And sometimes they'll even criticize common knowledge. Because some of these things that everyone knows, and some of this comes from particular study Bibles, is wrong. For example, and I think I might have mentioned it in a previous review on the previous edition, this note here about Meshach and Tubal. That actually refers specifically to a note in the Schofield Bible that insisted that Meshach and Tubal referred to Russia. Which, no, just no. That's absolutely a stretch. In the introductions, we also have timelines, which is something I more associate with Zondi, but you got him here too. Ribbons are kind of kinked up, but I'm going to take them out and I'm going to put them in the spine like I usually do. I'll do that after I shut off the video. There's some articles between the Testaments. And then we go into the New Testament. Now, they seem to play both sides as far as Matthean primacy versus Markan primacy. But they seem to support Matthean primacy. Take that as you will, as it's mostly scholars that push for Markan primacy and mostly believers that push for Matthean. You can see the red letter. It's actually pretty good. It's not as bold as the camera picks up. But it's a nice dark 2K Denmark red. There's a bunch of articles and essays scattered throughout the text. Now they drop the colophons at the end of the Pauline epistles. That's pretty normal. Only a few translators keep them. Now, there is a bit of a problem here. In that even though they keep the title from the King James text, they disagree with the concept that Paul wrote Hebrews. He absolutely did. No question. I believe current Holman editions use a Cambridge text. Check that. As we come to the end of Revelation, there's a table of weights and measures. A glossary of obsolete English. Now you'll find the same glossary in Schuyler KJV as well. There's a concordance. It's not comprehensive, but if you really need a comprehensive concordance for a KJV, go out and get a Cruden's. The 1-year reading plan with a checklist. Three-year plan, also with a checklist. There's a little bit of space in the back for additional notes. And more maps. It has the 1611 in Cambridge or Sheba at Joshua 19:2. I'm not going to go in with the full pure Cambridge edition of 1900 checklist and see if it's that. It probably doesn't. But I don't care about that. It has the Cambridge Whom Ye here at Focus. Jeremiah 34:16. You can see it toward the bottom. It's a little blurry because the camera doesn't want to focus. I don't feel like autofocusing. Alright, the other big Oxford difference. Nahum 3:16. It has the Cambridge reading Phiath. B. Ray is correct. Lowercase s in 1 John 5:8. That's unusual, but could indicate that this is pure Cambridge of 1900 type text. Not that that matters. King James Bible is a King James Bible any way you cut it. There's actually notes here that criticize scholarly skepticism. For example, this one on Acts 16:35. Now it's a little questionable with its note about the pericope adultery, although it does say it could be authentic. Just that it does call into question its position. And kind of wishy-washy on the long ending of Mark. Doesn't outright reject them, just said the oldest manuscripts don't have them. But that doesn't mean anything because the oldest manuscripts could well be corrupt. As we know Sinaiticus is. Anyway, Jesus freak out.